All right, guys. So here we got that Husqvarna and this. I think what used to be a Husqvarna at one point in its life. It's pretty rough now. No deck or anything. That's okay. For what I have in mind, anyway. So it's got the 22 horse Briggs. The engine sort of turns with the hand, but it kind of stops, so I don't know what's going on. I want to know if it runs. So, because crazy plan I have here. Plus, I need to see if that rear end's good, or the hydro is good in it. Because this one, YTH 2454, 24 horse, Briggs Intech. I do not know if it runs yet. Somebody had taken the gas tank out of it, and the seat is off of it also. Otherwise, all in pretty good shape. The reason that somebody started taking parts off of this, now I got these two at my local dealership, so sometimes you'll have that, people rob parts, stuff like that. Now, problem we have is right there. It doesn't end there either. So right there. Busted clean through on both sides. So now, yes, the easy thing to do would probably be to just weld this frame up. But there's two problems with that. One, with it being on both sides like that, I don't know that I want to weld it because I don't know how long it would last. You know, you put stress on other points. But it was just one, you know, I did one side on the last year. I did welded one up just on this side. I was fine with that. It wasn't a horrible break like this is. But it also had a tag on it that said bad trans. Now it does not roll at all. So, and it's got and if it was a tough torque hydro in it, like this one over here, this one wouldn't roll either, but I just undid the brake a little bit and boom, she rolled. Well, this being a tough torque is different. It's an internal brake, so it's surrounded in fluid and all that crap. So I'm assuming there's something even deeper wrong with this trans. We're going to find out though, you know, because actually I am going to try and get it. Well, it should run, but I put a battery in it. And we'll see if the trans, what it does. Now, my plan, should I choose to accept it, is taking everything off of here, all the sheet, the whole body, the whole thing, the cowl, the dash, you know, the pan, everything, the deck, everything will transfer onto this frame. This frame is the same. It's identical. And all the stuff will line up. The stuff for the drive's the same, stuff for the brakes the same. It's identical. Plus this one has, now remember, the gas tank is out of this one. Somebody robbed it. Well, this one has the gas tank back here, which this is the first one I ever seen with it right here in the center, as far as Husqvarnas go. But the funny thing is, this is the same hole as like where a battery would go, like in this one. See? So, all I need to do is take this tray out you know, which it'll come out, and then that hole will be the same access as this. And then the battery, this is all the same up here now too. So I'll just take this battery tray and all its components and plunk it right in there. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, this is something I have yet to do, but it should be pretty straightforward. I gotta still run that engine over there. Still has to come over here too. So you have to swap engines. I still want to know what's wrong with this one though. Test the hydro. Even if I gotta put the other motor in it to test the hydro first, that's what we're gonna have to do. But I want to see what's wrong with this one. So that'll be next on the docket. I'll have to put a battery in it and some fresh gas, I believe. Can't remember if I think I drained all the gas out of it. So, all right, exciting times, guys, exciting times. All right, guys. So when I got this home, it was leaking oil out of the sump, I believe. The gasket was bad. So I drained all the oil out of it, which I believe had gas in it. If I remember right. Anyway. Then I could only turn it a little bit, maybe halfway each way, and couldn't get it anymore. So I'm not sure what's going on with it yet, but what I do know, at least as far as I can tell, nothing's blowing. Now I went and I took the valve covers off to see if I had dropped a push rod, you know, and they're all good. This one might be a tad tight. Well, no, it's not. I just checked it in the wrong place. So they're all probably somewhat within spec. I mean, good enough to run it. So they aren't the problem. And so now I can turn it all the way around, but one, listen for the noise it makes when I turn it. Two, I have a straw over here. You can see it, a straw. I had taken the spark plugs out, put a straw in there to see if I could see if the pistons were moving. So you can see that one comes up, and this one. Can you hear that god awful noise? All right, see. That piston moves as well. Now this is just a regular like McDonald's type straw. So we're not blown, but at least I don't think, unless the connecting rods are still stuck to the crankshaft somehow. But it's still trying to figure out if that's coming from. It could be coming from the PTO clutch, which I could spin it with one hand. Oh, now it's stuck again. See, it seems like it's internal though. Not really sure if I should start it or not, because also was starting it, I have to put oil in it, and if I put oil in it, it's going to come dumping out again. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to button this back up, and I'm going to just take it off of here. we'll have to put it on the stand. Well, first, I think what I want to do, since I have to replace the sump gasket in it, I think, and this is going to be sometime down the road, I'll have to take the sump off, see what's going on, and go from there. But I don't think we're going to get this one running on here today. I don't want to put oil in it to have it just come out anyway. And there's no holes in the block. I think it's just that. Now this would be, I've run into this a lot lately in the last couple of years with these Intex. The sump gaskets are put in wrong from the factory. They're hard to explain. I have to film one at some point, but it's not even like part of it falls inside the motor, so it's not even gasketed at all. So I think that's what's going on with this. Like I said, we'll have to wait and find out. All right. Okay, guys. So I'm over here on the, well, I don't know what, the good tractor with the bad frame, I guess. And honestly, a little of that, I want to get to that a little bit, but 54-inch deck is pretty big. And the way they build these frames nowadays, they're paper thin. I don't understand. And then they have a whole bunch of holes popped in it back there. It's like, I don't know how they expected it to ever hold up. But anyway, enough of that rant. I got a slave tank hooked up to it. I have a battery hooked up in it. I had to take the seat off. This one doesn't even have a seat mount on it. And so I had to kind of just rig this up because it's probably going to need the seat switch activated. Right now the clutch is pushed in, so it should just start without me on it. So let's see what happens. Okay, gotta hold it there. What though, that motor runs great. Nice. Now I did check the oil in it. Yeah, you know, it was fullish, but it was black. It was black as night. So I don't know. That's a new one. Either they work or they don't. So could be something to do with it being tilted, because back it kind of goes like this back here or something. Well, you can see already the belt doesn't look great, so I don't know. I'd like to get the deck off this thing and kind of look at that, because I want to make sure with this hydro like if it's going to be good or not. Now that we've kind of moved it a little bit. Nope, she's still locked. So, that's a strange one there. All right, back with more. That baby purr. All right. Now, took the deck off, and there was a whole bunch of grass. The reason it was locked up and wouldn't roll by itself, there was a whole bunch of grass piled around the brake stem, where the brake stem comes out of the trans, and there's a whole bunch of grass around it, just packed tight. Got that out of there, and she was freewheeling, and I figured after that the reverse would probably work, and sure enough it does. So I don't know what order I'm going to put these videos in, because this is a separate video from another Husqvarna I'm working on with a bad hydro. This hydro is going to go in that baby, and I'm going to cut out the middleman. So anyway, on to the next scene. Okay, so I got both of them stripped down, and I just want to show. As soon as I took the fenders, the body pan off, it just went, just fell. So I think the only thing holding it at this point is the drive bar, and well, the spring ain't really holding much. It's pretty much just a drive bar. So, but look at, I want you to see, now this is so it's only 4 years old. It's a 2018. And look at the size of the hole up front here, to where you can, it's, I mean, the engine first bolt is right here on either side. And has nothing up here at all. And this is wide open right here. Now look at this one. The hole's just big enough for the muffler. Here's where the bolt hole is for the engine on either side. So all this, and then it has, this part that comes down right in the front, and all this back part is all, and this is all one piece. They stamped that and formed it out of one piece. The frame rails are separate from the rest of this. This is just bolted on, this top piece. So, and then where it broke, I'll show you more later, but it's, there's a lot of holes there and whatnot. And this one broke. This is this piece here, which is loose, because that's right where it cracked, is right where those two bolts are, and that's a support for the mowing deck. There's a rod that goes from that to the deck, and it's just a support rod. So that's right where that broke. And this side, I don't know, it's just, I guess I could rant on forever, but so that's and that's 2006. So I mean, there's some years difference, but they're basically the same. It's just they really cheaped out as far as the frame goes, if you ask me. I mean, this is BS. Plus it's paper thin. I mean, not that that's real thick, but it's a little bit thicker than this. So I don't know. It's pretty disappointing. I mean, now think, it's 4 years old. The guy, I mean, it's a pretty big mower. I imagine it was over $2,000, probably $2,500 or something like that, you know, for this mower. And he didn't even get 4 years out of it. He got 3 years. But I bet that started cracking right out of the gate. And the only thing holding it really together, like I said, was the body pan. And you can see it was putting stress on it here, cracked. But anyway, so we'll be back. Okay, so one thing I have to fix on this transmission is that brakes were seized up, and brakes just consist of that little piece in there, and then that little guy goes in there. But what seizes up is these little pins, and they go in these holes there, and they move back and forth. I'll show you how they do that in a second. But so what you got to do is you got to take it apart. You got to clean this pin and those holes. I just take a brush on a drill, which they're about one-time use. I figure with these brushes, sometimes they use them one time and they're shot. So anyway, just do that. Keep reaming out that hole, get all the rust and crap out of it. And then what I do is I put a little bit of anti-seize on here so they don't lock up again. Now I'm sure I'll get some kind of flack about that, but I've been doing that for a long time. Even on my own, I've never had a problem putting anti-seize on there. You know, you just don't need to overdo it. It's just a little piece. So, and then when it goes together, well, maybe you didn't see, but I put that spring on there first. Then this washer, and then the castle nut. Now, the castle nut, when you're taking it off, kind of make sure you pay attention to where it was. Like how many threads might be showing or whatever at the top of it. This one was roughly in this area, so if you can see in there, when the brakes are applied, this bend in here pushes those pins through here, and then pushes that little brake pad out, and there's a disc down in here. Okay, right there. And then there's springs and all kinds of happy stuff you got to get connected. So that's just what I'm doing now. So we'll be back. Alright guys, so I've got a pressure washed the whole frame and the underside of it, and I've got the tires and rims off the newer one with the broken frame. The tires that were originally on this one, this 2006, they were somewhat dry rotted, but they were both tubed. I could have left them on here, but these look better. They're newer. And same with the front here. These are the fronts off the 2018 one with the broken frame, and of course the engine. And got that all mounted up. Got the new drive pulley in. What else did I do? Oh, I had to, the offending piece that made the other frame break, right where it was bolted in, which is these two holes here, or these two, actually, was a little brace for the deck. This little rod would go into it and it would brace, kind of be a brace for the deck. Hang on a second. So, and this is that piece, but this bracket, this whole bracket is bolted to the frame, and then it bolts to the hydro right here, and is the whole support, front support for the hydro. So, and this brace for the deck that holds this little rod here, which goes in like that. You guys can see that. I had to cut this piece off of the other one, off the support deal, and I had to weld it on to this bracket. And as you can see, they're booger welded. Some days my welder likes to work well, and other days it just don't. And today was I'm not going to work right today. So, I mean, it's welded pretty strong. I did both sides. So it's not going anywhere. It just doesn't look pleasing to the eye, of course. You know, it is what it is. Then I just threw a little paint at it. So I'm going to get that in, and then I think I'm going to start putting body panels on. I'm trying to think if I forgot anything that I want to do underneath first. But I'll think about that, and then I'll come back. Okay, so I got the body pan on, and the cowl and the dash and all that. You're gonna run it if you ever do this, which I really doubt anybody's going to, except my goofy butt. But there's leaps and hurdles here and there. They have to jump through. So remember, we're moving the battery up here. There's a battery tray that will be going in here. I don't have the springs on yet, or the seat mount or anything. But you can see where the battery used to sit in this body pan is rubbed through the paint, and it just is what it is. What do you do? So because of having to move the battery up here, which used to be back there on the other one, so I had to, you know, the wiring's different because the solenoid would have been back there and all that. So I took the wiring from the donor, and here's where I took the newer solenoid and put that up here, and that's where it went in the donor one. So we put it right in its factory position. Everything will hook up to it, and all the wiring is still pretty much the same. Well, not pretty much, it is the same. So all the plugs, you know, factory plugs, boop, boop, boop. Everything plugs in, grounds, you know, whatever. So no problems with that. So that's your signal to your starter, and then this is some grounds. Oops, that hooked to it. This, okay, probably didn't see. This is a signal to the starter to activate the solenoid to start it. Here's some grounds that go to it also. There's another white wire up here. I'm not really sure. I think that's just there. And then this red wire, well, this will go on the solenoid over here, and these two red wires here, these little ones, will plug into each other. I'll show you that in a sec. Alright, see. It's all factory-like. Got all the caps on. And this one goes to the battery like that. And I've got the starter cable ran, and we have to get the tray in here and hook up a battery and see if everything works. Alright. Alright guys, so I was hooking up the fuel line and I wanted to put a, inline filter in. And I ended up cutting the line to do that. I suppose you can see that. So the inner lining is rotten because all the old gas that was left in this. So it looked like good line, but the inside is just shot. So I went and I bought about 30 feet of line, new fuel line, because I needed some anyway. And ran that down there. I've already got it hooked to the gas tank, so we're gonna cut it in about the spot I want the line at. It's roughly in here. Okay, I think I got enough for out of my old stuff to run the rest of the line. Hang on. Okay, so what I mean when an old line, the stuff I have left over from what I bought last year. So this is it. This is all I have left over. I think I bought a whole spool then, so a lot of stuff got new fuel line last year. It goes, can you guys see this? Yeah. And then we'll run it up. Let's see, we'll cut it right about in there. We're going to leave the line from the carburetor to the carburetor. That should be okay. All right, so now we got working on the deck part of it, and got the new belt on it, and you can see they're greasable from up here, even though we know that really means nothing. I did grease them anyway. So, and on this side, I did pressure wash. I mean, there's cobwebs and crap up here. I did pressure wash this all out, and I put new blades in. As you can see, there's the old blades, right? So I don't know if they were originals or what, but man, they are bad. So I had to spend the money, of course. So I don't half-ass anything, so there we go. Now I'm going to probably put this on. So we'll be back. Alright guys, it's all done. Oh yeah. The old Briggs runs like $1 million. Okay, so guess I'm not totally done yet, but it cuts grass pretty damn good. Sounds like there might be some noise coming from here, so I'm gonna have to dig into this maybe fully instead of just greasing the greaser, which is all bull anyway, as we all know. I might just tear into that, see if the bearings need greasing themselves. So probably should have done that anyway while the deck was out, but they all seemed fine. Moved good, didn't have any slop, so I'll just check this one. That one just seems to be noisy. And other than that, it all went pretty good. The Briggs was always solid. We just, you know, put a tune-up on it. Plugs weren't bad, I just cleaned them. Now, hang on a sec. Alright, hopefully you can see this better on your end than I can on my end. So, I bought the two Husqvarnas for $4.50 all together, the two of them. And I figure we'll split that in half, call it $2.25 for the frame and parts I used. I used the wiring and the frame, pretty much, gas tank. And the other part will go on to save other mowers, you know, tires, hydro, and, well, I used, anyway, I get a good hydro out of the deal. And so we split it in half, $2.25. Blades, brand new blades cost me $50. Brand new deck belt cost $50. Drive belt, I did have one here on hand off a used one that was still good, so you put that on there. And a new air filter and pre-filter for $18.50. Oil filter at $8, sorry. Oil itself at $10. Did put new fuel line and a new filter in. Can't remember how much I paid for the filter and the fuel line. You know, I bought 30 feet of it, so I don't know. I just came up to $361.50, and I figured I'd just round it up to $365. Call her good. I'm going to ask $1,000. So if I get $1,000, I will make $635. Now remember, I don't count my time in this. Now it did take quite a few weekends. You know, I got other things going on the weekends to it, so I was kind of picking at it here and there. Didn't really run into too many problems as far as the frame swap. Just that one bar, can't really see it. I had to weld. It's in the video, but anyway, I had to weld a piece onto a bracket back here for the deck stabilizer, and there's that. And well, I had to use somebody had taken the good seat off the good machine that had the broken frame. So this is a seat that was on the good framed one, which is old 2006 seat, so it's got some damage. What do? You know, it's a seat. Sit on it. And you know, oh, good cleaning of the gas tank. Gas tank had a lot of old gas in it. Cleaned that out pretty good. And got all the newer, 2018 tires on here, so all the tires are all still good, not cracked or anything. Have the 2018 PTO, and we had to use the drive pulley off the donor framed one because it goes with the hydro, because I left the hydro in this one, which is a hydro gear hydro, and it's plenty good. So there you go, everything checks out, everything works good. Remember, this is where the gas tank was in the 2018 machine, which is all the tin on here, and we just took this battery tray out of the donor machine and it plunked right in that hole. So just like that. And then we moved the solenoid and everything up here because we had to use the wiring off the donor machine, which all worked out pretty good. Could have probably gotten a new cable since it's all whitened. Pretty much I power washed everything on here. I mean, underneath, now the only grass on it is not on the deck now. I already took pictures of it anyway for selling, but I got to put it through its paces yet before I put it up for selling. I just took the pictures, and I got to go through that, take a look at that spindle over on the other side, deck spindle. And should get it up for sale today. Today is Saturday the 11th, I believe. So, see how it goes. Tell me what you think, guys. Am I too high, too low selling this? You know, the way things are costing now, you know, and parts are, well, I got some parts pretty good deal on here. You know, the blades are $50. Normally they're 60. Deck belt was a little spendy. You know, but it all adds up. It adds up pretty quick. So, yeah, just let me know what you think. How'd I do? What would you do? And all that good stuff. So, if you like what you see, guys, subscribe. And I clean the headlights out too. Subscribe, like, and you know, as always, leave me a comment. I like the comments as long as they're not, you know, derogatory. Another thing I did is I cut this end off. These always stick out way too far. I like cutting them off right at that, right below the 54 there, just like that. I think that's works perfect like that. So I did that too, and then put the old heat treatment on it to kind of turn them gloss black again. So anyway, I'm blabbering. Thanks, guys. Bye.